Hello friends, myself Mr. Sunil Devkar, Assistant Professor in the Department of English of Rao Bahadur Narendra Boroke College, Srirampur. Today I am going to deal with the poem Song of the Hindustani Minstrel. This poem is prescribed at TYBA English General Paper 3rd University paper. So this poem is written by the famous poet Henry Derizio. So Henry Derizio, he was among the Indo-Anglian poets who wrote before independence. Related to his writing, so Henry Derizio, so the other famous poets before independence period, they were Sarojini Naidu, Toru Datta, Sarojini Naidu, and Henry Derizio. So Henry Derizio, he was from West Bengal. So he was from West Bengal. He was born in the year 1809. His father was a Portugal and his mother was Indian. So he was an Anglo-Indian poet. He initially, that means he had interest in writing poetries. He has interest in writing poetry, and at that time he composed poetries and sent to different magazines for publication. His friend, or you can say the editor Grant, he took the concern of Henry Derizio, who at the age of 14, he took the job of a clerk in his uncle's factory at Bhagalpur. In uncle's factory at Bhagalpur, he took that job. But this editor Grant, he knew that he has different skills of writing poetry, and that's why he called him to Calcutta to make a collection of his book of poetry. Later he moved to Calcutta, but that means he further, at the age of 18, he became a teacher, a lecturer of English literature and history in the college, Hindu college, you can say. In Hindu college, he became lecturer. And when he was appointed as the lecturer, many students, they were around him. And his love for that means his ideas, he didn't believe, that means he believed in equality, liberty and fraternity. He was against his idol worship. And the thought it enhanced. He was also the follower of, that means the ideals, follower of the ideals of Rajaram Mohan Roy. So he also had a respect for women, and it was not liked by the college, you can say by the college management. So through his debate, through his speeches, many students, they were attracted to him. He was a very popular teacher in the college, and later the management was afraid, and he was terminated from his job on June 1831. So in the month of June 1831, he was terminated from his job, and later due to cholera, he died in December 1831. So he lived for only a lifespan of 22 years. So if you see, he lived just for 22 years. But in this period, the poetry which he composed, his works, they were of high merit. So it gave an identity to the Indian English poetry. He dealt with the Indian traditions. His main influence, they were the romantic poets. Like William Wordsworth, John Keats, P.B. Shelley, S.T. Coleridge. So nature was also one of the themes. Nature and love were the themes of his poetry. And he also dealt with the patriotic spirit. So if you see some of his work, The Fakir of Jangira, so in this poem it is a story of a widow Brahmin girl. So the tortures which she had to suffer. So in that poem it has been mentioned. Later on, if you see his patriotic sonnet, The Harp of India, it deals with the ancient history of India. It is written in an English sonnet form. But the rhyming scheme, he has changed the rhyming scheme of that sonnet. So later, if we turn to his work now, this poem, The Song of Hindustani Minstrel, if you see the title of the poem itself, so initially Hindustani, the spelling of Hindustan, it was Hindostani, D-O-O-S-T-I, Hindustani. So Hindustani it was the spelling, but later on it was changed as Hindustani. Minstrel is a group of, that means singers. The singers who used to sing song, they were called as minstrels. And so it is the song of Hindustani minstrel. So here the narrator or the speaker in the poem is the lover. He is addressing to his beloved. He wants to speak about, so in this poem he wants to speak about his intense love for his beloved, and we can divide the poem into three sections. There are totally 9 stanzas in this poem. There are totally 9 stanzas, and each stanza, it has 4 lines. And the title, as I have already told you, the title itself is significant. The Song of Hindustani Minstrel. It is the song of that Hindustani minstrel. In those days, the singers, they used to sing, and they used to earn their livelihood on that singing. So on that singing, they used to earn their livelihood. But this lover and beloved, they were not that much successful. And so the beloved, she is frustrated. She is totally frustrated. She has given her hope in life. And she doesn't find a way, because whatever they sing with that musical instrument sitar, no one is bothering, or no one cares for their music or their song. And so here the speaker, the lover, is addressing to his beloved. So the lover is addressing to his beloved in what sense? That means don't give up. One day, the day, it will be our day, and we will become successful in our life. So here, in a sense, when he is addressing the physical beauty, in the first 3 stanzas, the poet addresses the physical beauty of the beloved. He addresses the physical beauty of the beloved, and so he calls the surma, which she applies on her eyes, on the eyelids. It shines as such like the stars. So her eyes, they are compared to the stars. So like the shining stars. So the surma, when she applies to the thing of her eyes, naturally, so she looks much more beautiful. Later, that means he addresses her physical beauty, the dress which she wears. So the tress Ravan, roses on her dress, it naturally enhances her beauty when she wears the dress. Further, he admires, in the second stanza, he admires the pearls. That means we see the valuable pearls. Where are the valuable pearls found? The valuable pearls, they are found in the Oman Sea. But to me you are much more valuable to me, even that pearl, you are much more valuable to me. So he is addressing, that means her beauty he praises here, that means she is much more fair, and at the same time she is like a Kashmirian girl. She is like a Kashmirian girl. So when we take when he calls her as a Kashmirian girl, so Kashmirian, the word instead of spelling as Kashmir, so he spells it as Cashmer, Kashmiri. So Kashmiri, so two words, Kashmiri. So likewise, she is much more valuable. So she is much more valuable. She is a Kashmiri girl. So if you see, according to the geographical background, if you see the North Indians, if you go to North, naturally the women, they are tall, they are beautiful. So they are beautiful. And if you go in the South, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, if you see, the skin complexion is rather dark. And so he compares her beloved, that means she is a Kashmirian girl. She is a Kashmirian girl and she is the most beautiful girl, and her beauty is incomparable. Her beauty is incomparable. It cannot be compared with anyone. And so he admires her that she is the most beautiful girl. She is the most beautiful girl. And so that admiration, it is clearly reflected. Further, he compares her beauty to the roses, that means the roses of Bushra in Baghdad, which is in Iraq. So in the Baghdad city, so that means in Bushra, where the roses, they are, that means those roses, they are being preferred by each and every unmarried girl or a woman or a maid, we may say. So, but for me, you are, that means the rose which blow on thy cheek. When he says the rose which blows on thy cheek, it is much more beautiful than the roses which are been found in Baghdad, that is in Bushra, Baghdad. So beyond that, he can say your beauty on thy cheek. So that means when you smile or when you speak, on your cheeks, the roses, he can say, the beauty, it is much more than the roses in Bushra. So that means in there, he compares that the beauty of yours is much more than the beauty of the roses which are been found in Bushra. So which every unmarried girl or a woman who prefers those roses. Further, he naturally, that means in these first three stanzas, we clearly see that it is the physical admiration. It is the physical admiration of the beauty. It is the physical admiration of the beauty of that girl or of that minstrel, of the beloved. So that means you are the most beautiful girl. So for me, other than you, no one is much more valuable. So in this manner, he goes on admiring the beauty. And further, in the second section, we see that means there is a ray of hope, or that there is also the poverty which has been reflected of these minstrels. So the singers, they are living under the line of poverty. They are even not able to meet their basic needs. And further, he comments that one should not give up. Day alters night. So there is always a ray of hope. So even though today our condition is miserable, tomorrow we will be living in heaven's life, or you can say in Edenic life. So we will get complete happiness. And so further, he just goes on giving different examples how our lifestyle, it will be changed. Even though today we are not happy, even though today we are not that much happy, but tomorrow surely you can say there will be a ray of hope and we will be happy, and everyone will praise us. So that ray of hope, it is been aroused by the lover in the heart of the beloved, and how he goes on praising her beloved with giving a positive compliment and a positive energy and the optimistic view towards life. It is clearly reflected in the next stanzas from stanza number 4. So further he can say, so the youngsters, all that means when you will sing a song tomorrow, all the youngsters, they will understand the meaning of your song. So you will become the heartbeats of the youngsters. So they will become your fan, and you will be loved by all those youngsters. So that means how you will be famous tomorrow. And the first example there he gives, that means you will be the stars of the youngsters. Everyone will be your fan. So don't get upset. So believe, yes, tomorrow there will be change. Further he comments that in rural areas, no one takes care. In rural areas, people, they don't understand, that means they don't respect art. In a sense, you want to say, art means, why art I am speaking here? Because music or singing, it is a kind of art. And here the people, rural people, they don't bother. So where we will go? We will go in cities. In cities, people, when we will sing, they will understand the meaning of your song. They will surely praise you. And even though today we are in a dark state, even though there is night, around us there is complete night, means sorrow. Around us there is complete darkness. Around us there is complete darkness, there is sorrow, and we are leading in a miserable condition. But then also, when we will move to city, people will know our value of singing, and they will praise us. They will praise us, and surely those days, those middays, that means happy days, heavenly days, they will start in our life, and you will become famous. So don't give up. Don't give up. And so that is the second example which is been given by in the poem. So next he turns. Even that means we will also sing in the courts of the kings. We will sing in the courts of the kings. So the kings, different kings, will invite us in their courts, and in the court, you can say the kings and the courtiers, they will be sitting in the court, and we will be invited, and there we will sing, and we will get admiration. We will get admiration from all the people. We will get admiration from all the people, and we will become successful. So that it has been told. So the courts of the kings, there we will become famous. Further, he addresses even the rich people will be invited in different havelis and the palaces by the rich people. So the rich people, they will invite us, and there also we will sing our song, and we will become famous. So we will become famous. So further he adds that we should not get frustrated. So we should not get frustrated. The whole world, that means the world is too much big. The world is too much big. We can travel across the world. So if in rural areas people, they are not taking seriously, or they can say they don't know the worth of our singing, we will move to cities. There the people will praise us. Even when we will become famous, we will travel across the world, and in the world we will become famous. And so just like birds, so here he compares that we will just travel or roam like birds. So here from one place to another place. And so in that manner we can become famous. So we can become famous, and all the people, they will admire us, and all the people, they will admire us, and they will surely feel they will surely feel that these are the real, you can say, they are the real popular singers of the world. They are the popular singers of the world. And finally he addresses that our love, it will not decrease. Our love, it will not decrease. Our love, it will continue. Our love, it will continue. Our love, it will continue, and we should trust each other. Yes, tomorrow it might also happen. Tomorrow it might also happen. You might become famous. You might become famous, but you should not forget me. So we should have faith in each other. We should have faith in each other, and surely tomorrow's day, it will be ours day. It will be ours day, and we will become famous. Tomorrow our days, they will be our happy days, even though today we are in a sorrowful condition. So here in this poem, he clearly mentions, that means it is a song of solace. It is a song of praise of the physical beauty, and it is, that means there is the optimistic view. There is the optimistic view of the poet, or in a sense, it is also the optimistic view of the lover. Yes, tomorrow it will be our, and we will surely become successful in our life. So the title of the poem, in a very significant manner, the poet he has presented here. So that was, so these were the things which I wanted to focus to you, that how Henry Derizio, you are successful in creating the thought of the beloved, romantic thought, even though the romantic thought of how he praises the beauty, the physical beauty of the beloved, and finally how he gives a thoughtful explanation. Yes, tomorrow surely we will be successful. Okay, I will stop here. Thank you.